Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. In response to the CCC MP recalls, Mutebuka argued that Chabangu did not initiate the recalls but is a proxy and would have not succeeded in the recalls had he not been working for a principal. Mutebuka suggested that Chabangu may have always been a state asset, either embedded or working on the fringes and lying in wait. I am afraid I do not get the reasoning behind this, my brother. If Chabangu has been a member of at CCC Zimbabwe and is not its interim secretary general, as such a position clearly does not exist. It means that regardless of any weaknesses CCC have, in rational terms, this cannot be the reason he has succeeded in achieving recalls that he is otherwise a law not entitled to make. 2. He is succeeding because the regime, via the Speaker's office, is entertaining an illegality for political expediency purposes. It means any other illegality can and will succeed as long as the person who is responsible for making that decision lacks integrity and is partisan. 3. It also means that shoring up structural weaknesses will, at its highest, either minimize or make the regime's task more challenging. But it is insufficient to totally eliminate such a risk because of the capture of all state institutions by the regime. 4. A good example is that ZEC repeatedly behaved illegally despite there being sufficient legal safeguards allowing such behavior via the constitution and electoral laws. 5. This is a clear misdiagnosis. My brother, who initiated the recalls is not Chabangu because he is a proxy. A proxy is an instrument or agent of the principal. We have to assess the real power behind the throne, as without such power, there would be no movement on the ground. 6. He is carrying out his principal's political interests and has been given free rein to act that way. Had he been acting contrary to the regime's interests, he would not have succeeded in the recalls. 7. In all political parties, there are many who disgruntled party members. They do not necessarily pursue recalls to achieve their political objectives. 8. For all we know, it cannot be discounted that Chabangu has always been a state asset who was either embedded or working on the fringes and lying in wait, and is exploiting his apparent connections with others, either naive or disgruntled party members, to finally execute his mission. 9. There is no rational explanation as to why such an angle has not been explored, which the current regime is clearly capable of executing. 10. The reason why such a rigorous examination is critical is this. The timing of Chabangu's shenanigans is exceptionally convenient to the regime. 11. The regime has been under the cosh and facing a legitimate crisis. We also know that it was recently in Zambezi Wedza drumming up command petition to help it respond to the SEOM report. 12. Even if Nelson Chamisa was the worst dictator ever in opposition politics, it is simply not credible that a genuine member of the opposition party would overlook the conclusion of the SEOM report, the gross injustices that were witnessed, and their impact on not only CCC as an opposition political party, but the generality of Zimbabweans who were outrageously disenfranchised in the elections, and prioritize the recalls over and above those concerns. 13. I will be bold and go as far as to assert that there is a high degree of possibility that any political opposition member or leader of CCC Zimbabwe who is working at Chabangu at this particular moment in time is likely to have always harbored an intention to work against the party and Chamisa, and was thus waiting to pounce as soon as any such opportunity presented itself, so that instead of being accused of treachery or betrayal, it will seem as if there was a just cause for doing so, thereby lessening the degree of culpability to be attributed to them. 14. I might be wrong, but the concern that I have is that your conclusions seem to inadvertently allowed the regime to escape scrutiny for its unacceptable behavior by unjustly undermining the opposition at key moments. 15. The inescapable conclusion is that the regime is fully responsible for Chabangu's senseless and unconstitutional recalls being successful. It must be fully held to account for that roguish behavior which is not found in civilized and democratic societies. 16. Yes, it is preferable for the opposition to have robust structures and a sound constitution, but even structureless and constitution-free parties are perfectly permissible in our jurisdiction and are entitled to the full protection of the law. 17. The fact that you are rightly or understandably prefer Chamisa's party to have a constitution does not mean that you should overlook the regime's culpability and call it out for what it is. You could be suffering from a handicap called confirmation bias, which means that due to your conviction that Chamisa is wrong by virtue of relying on strategic ambiguity or the claimed absence of structures and a constitution, all his political misfortunes or what his party is currently experiences is attributable to the defect, and all other potential reasonable explanations are excluded. 18. As always, context is key in such situations. 19. The inescapable conclusion is that it is simply a regime which does not respect democracy, the constitution, the rule of law, and good government at any level. 20. Also look at how ED came to power. Did he respect the Zanu PF constitution? Did he respect the national constitution? If he did not, then why would it be rational to conclude that he would not respect CCC Zimbabwe's constitution even if it had one? 21. I would argue that the very reasons why ED was successful in getting his party and the nation to accept his ascendancy via a coup, notwithstanding the unlawfulness, forms the basis of how he had governed Zimbabwe. He had got a template which has worked well for him and his acolytes thus far. 22. He can deploy deception when he wants and can use force on other occasions, while on others he simply leans on captured state institutions. We have to grudgingly give him credit for his aptitude in the dark arts of deception and school degree if he is routinely able to convince a person possessing your skills and expertise that he is not capable in a situation such as this. What is your take on Mutebuka's words? Please do not forget to leave your thoughts with us.